So we're live.
We are live?
Yeah, we're on camera. It's a thing that's happening right now.
Yo, what is up? Okay, what's going on? Yeah, we are very live.
I know.
All right,
So are you going to do another
it,
stupid
dude.
intro, or are you going to let me just start the podcast again?
I don't even remember what you're making reference to. I've already
Yeah,
had my beautiful. Well, I remember there's something with the sound or something. No, I used the word pithy incorrectly. And,
You did?
Yeah,
You did a lot incorrectly.
You fucking, you miss every shot you don't take. We are live at Oliver Twist BR. Let's go. Drinking this delicious El Diablo. It's a little cream de cassis, a little lime juice, a little jalapeno syrup, a little tequila, a little ginger beer.
Can I please start the podcast?
And I already made sure to kind of loosen up with a couple tequila shots. Because you know what time it is, dude. It is time to fuck up Greg Popovich. That's right. This is the Pels pregame podcast, baby. Let's go. If you're listening to this on Thursday, well, guess what? We're here an hour before the Pelicans play a game before the Spurs, and we could not be more excited.
So to recap, T-Bob's already had 2 shots of mezcal.
No, just actually Kylie Jenner's tequila.
So 2 shots of tequila, and he's working on a cocktail. We haven't even started
Normally
yet, so.
the rule is 1 shot and 2 cocks for the show. 1 shot and 2 cocks.
Awesome.
Today we might switch it up
Okay.
with 2 shots and a cock.
Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. All right.
Yeah. All right, no, we have audio, right? Or do you want me to do the hand intro again?
That's what I was referring to. You fucking up the stupid intro when I was trying to start the podcast. That's exactly what I was talking about. And then you keep slapping me throughout the entire goddamn episode.
Yeah, it's coming again,
I'm telling
dude.
you,
Get
I'm
ready,
going to punch
dude.
you. Like
Let's
I'm
go,
going
dude.
to punch you. This is the thing that's going to happen. All right, here we go. All right, well, they let us back. Scone and tea from Oliver Twist. Last week was the maiden voyage. It started exactly as you would expect it would, with reverberating audio issues and you pissing everybody off. But they did invite us back for another week, and we're thrilled to be here. If you're watching us live, thank you. Every Wednesday, 7 o'clock Central, we are live at Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge, and we're live on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube and 104.5 ESPN Facebook. Or you can stream us audio or video on demand at any point. I'm Matt Moscona.
Yeah.
He is tons of fun, and we're glad to be here.
I am.
This is not a Pelicans pregame show.
I am tons of fun. I agree. Many people love hanging out with me, and this is absolutely a Pelicans pregame show. As I've always said it, Greg Popovich, he's a peckled, and he's going to get pecked all night long tonight. He's going to have to watch his team get pecked all night long by these new-look Pelicans. Yes. Are the Pelicans currently 1-3 against the Spurs this season? Yes. But they have never played their 5 that they're playing tonight. Their best 5. The 5 that average 122 per 100 possessions. Let's fucking go. Tastes pretty good, the break-even bottle.
We're going to talk about this. That was a magnificent first sip of the Old Elk Infinity Series. Let me get to that in a second. So format of the podcast is really we just sit here and talk about sports for about an hour or so. And it's a really yes, the Pelicans do play in an hour, but most people are going to watch this after the fact.
Absolutely.
Or listen to this after the fact.
Which
and
is
they're
why
not
it's
going to
even funnier
They're
to
not going to
me.
give a damn about the game. Exactly. So all you want to do is just troll everybody, so stop doing that. Let's talk about things that people actually
What if
give
it
a shit
goes
about.
awesome? What if it goes wrong? What if it goes right?
So, by the way, I do think the Pelicans win tonight. I'm pretty fired up about it.
5.5-point favorites.
Jonas last year in the play-in game for Memphis against San Antonio, 23-23. How about that?
Okay.
Major domination by Jonas tonight. I love the fact that CJ and BI, a couple of dudes that are elite in the mid-range, they are going to be balls out tonight.
Hell yeah.
I like the Pelicans. The Smoothie King Center is going to be
out.
bonkers. You're talking about a great – New Orleans is a great event town. When you give people a reason to go party, they're going to show up. Did you watch the play-in with Minnesota?
I did not last night, man. I got hooked on Drive to Survive, but it looked awesome. I've seen all the highlights.
You're a great sports talk host. You're into everything. That's why you're great at what you do.
Yeah,
so
Drive to
last
Survive,
night,
dude. It's fucking awesome.
Clippers against the Wolves. Some woman glued her hand to the floor.
Oh no, I saw it. I watched
crazy shit.
So I do a lot
it was
of
amazing.
YouTube.
It was amazing to watch the game. Cat fouled out. Nas Reed got some
garbage.
runs. Serious late in the game. It was awesome. So very cool. Just the emotion around it. I'm
Good
fired up
for Anthony
that.
Edwards.
You know
Nobody
what
ever
else?
talks about Anthony Edwards.
From Georgia, #1 overall
And
pick.
also, how about this? Fuck all the people talking about not celebrating. because you best believe the Smoothie King Center is going to be going fucking crazy tonight if the Pelicans win. Look, man, context matters, right? Context matters. And sure, maybe the Spurs or the fucking Clippers or all these other teams, maybe they're not into it. The T-Wolves are into it. The Pelicans are into it, dude. So fuck yeah, dude. I'm excited. And I know that Smoothie King Center is going to celebrate just as hard tonight. A big night for Brandon Ingram, dude. Big night. Now, I love that he has a safety valve, McCollum. You don't have to rely on him. But Ingram is someone
this is not
who,
a Pelicans pregame show.
in the past, used to kind of struggle in crunch time when the moments got big. He's gotten better at it this year. It's all coming down to this.
Simply Tyler Vods said, I'm so disappointed in Matt Nopel's jersey.
Yep.
First of all, I'm not a child. I don't wear
Yep.
jerseys. Second of all, Mac Washington said, your lighting is terrible. Everything looks orange. Hey, Mac Washington, first of all, I love you, but
I
with all
kinda
due
like
respect,
the orange,
fuck
dude.
off. Like we're in a bar. What do you expect?
No, I kind of like the orange.
I like it, too.
Dude.
I think it's
I'm
great.
pretty pale, so I feel like
it
it gives me a little color.
This guy's going to come bitch about the lighting at Whiskey and Wine when we're in a dimly lit cigar bar with clouds of smoke pluming around. Like, what do you want us to do, man? We're doing a podcast from an awesome restaurant and bar, and the light, deal with it, right?
They have,
it's
look,
an awesome
they
vibe.
have,
It's
they
an
have,
awesome vibe. I love the vibe here.
They have an incredible liquor selection here. Again, I mean, everything that I've had here has been, like I said, last week I drank some mezcal, but I drank a liqueur made by like 4 monks from like 700
So
years
good.
ago or so something. It was crazy. Green chartreuse.
Let's get into. We'll tell people what we're drinking tonight. The break-even bottle pick in a moment. I think they just turned down the lights because they're like, turn back
I
up, turn
kind
back
of
up.
like the orange, dude.
Let's talk a little bit about LSU spring practice. They've passed the halfway point. They've had 2 full scrimmages on Saturdays already.
Yep.
And one of the things that I really like is that we're getting access to the coaching staff. And Mike Denbrock met with reporters earlier this week. Tomorrow, we're recording this on a Wednesday, so tomorrow, Thursday, Matt House will meet with reporters. So,
Imagine that, talking to coordinators.
I love it. I dig it. Media member, we're always going to be into access, right? We're always going to be into having more access than less. Could you put that over there, please? Thank you. One of the things that Denbrock said, obviously he had a ton of questions about the quarterbacks. The thing that he said sort of point blank was, we're not going to make a decision on a quarterback until, like, the competition's going to go into the fall.
Yeah.
Which I guess we probably expected, but the thing that I thought might happen and may happen is, well, I don't expect LSU to name a starting quarterback coming out of spring. I thought maybe by how they divvied up reps, who was taking first-team reps, how it was going. Generally, and you tell me if I'm wrong, generally you have a feel of who the guy is, right? Like, don't you know as a player, like, who the guy is that's the alpha that's winning the job?
Oh, well, I mean, now you just opened up the drive to survive door once again, because the analogy that I've constantly used for spring is it's like qualifying. It's running the race to see who has pole position going into the fall. Now, maybe where it differs is, yes, Matt, sometimes you will have position battles where it is so clear that this guy is the guy that it's locked in. Like Will Campbell feels like that at left tackle, like already. If he's been repping there for weeks now at this point. You got the head coach out there talking about how the rest of the offensive line really started to clarify once Will Campbell was slotted in there. That's somebody who is running away with the competition. Competitions can exist where it is not that clear cut, right? I mean, I feel like I experienced a little bit firsthand with George Jefferson and Jarrett Lee back in the day. That was never a very clear cut battle either way for pretty much the majority of its time. So, no, I mean, look, somebody could have pole position. Somebody could technically be first in the depth chart by the end of this and still not be the runaway guy. Like, I do have to allow for, especially with Jaden Daniels and culture shock and moving down here in a new team and everything else, like, I will allow Jaden Daniels the time of the summer and fall camp to know his teammates and to get used to this coaching staff and make some moves if he were behind or maybe extend his lead if he's ahead. So, no, I don't think like all things in life, right? It could be a situation where it's decided. I don't think we can't say that yet at quarterback. And also, we should start being able to read in more into how reps are divvied up, right? Because Brian Kelly talked about this week how up until this point, halfway through spring, it's been, hey, let's learn how to practice. What are the expectations? What's our tempo? What does the flow and kind of feel of it just feel like? And now that you know that, okay, let's actually start competing for jobs. And so now we can read into who's repping with the ones, who's going with the twos, who's getting the team reps. That will give you an inkling of who they think is starting to pull ahead a little bit.
You said a lot. I don't know that you said anything.
No, I mean, look, if you want me to just be super succinct about it, no, to answer your question, no, I don't think. To answer your question, there can be a battle where one person is in the lead, but he is not the clear winner at the end of spring. Absolutely. At any position.
Hey, when you talked about Will Campbell, did you ever play with a lineman that as a freshman was just physically ready? Physically ready to roll in the SEC?
L. Collins was the only one, and he didn't start.
He was basically Lyle was
he was like our seventh man.
He was he was kind of there. The thing I remember about the 2011 line, and I mean that was just a dominant unit,
but nobody played in the
nobody
NFL.
played in the NFL, but the first 10 all had starting SEC experience, right?
Yeah, yes. No, we had. Going into the season, if I remember correctly, we had 9 guys that had started a game, and then you can add Lyle to that mix.
And 10 was Lyle. That was it. Was 9, and then 10 was Lyle, and the 9 had all started in the SEC. So Lyle. So what is it? So what is it like when a Will Campbell shows up that you could just tell that he's? I don't understand how dudes at 18 are physically ready for SEC defensive linemen.
Well, it's a little intimidating, right? And maybe Lyle didn't start just because of some of the quality kind of veteran nature of the line, and Will Campbell's in a different situation where he doesn't have that quality vet in front of him, so the door's kind of wide open for him. But I would say that, the point stands because physically those two are some of the only 2 people that I've ever seen that are just ready. And you know what, Matt? A lot of it is genetics, right? To be just completely frank, right? Offensive line is I was 270 when I showed up to LSU, right? I had to get up to 300, 318 at one point. Sometimes you just got to develop physically, right? Obviously, guys like L. Collins and Will Campbell, they're a step ahead in that regard. Now, also though, they work their ass off, right? I mean, you don't show up. I don't care how good your genetics are. You don't show up when you should be at high school prom. You don't show up and win the LSU left tackle job regardless of context unless you're putting in the work. Okay, so you combine the, outlier athletics with an excellent work ethic, which, remember Will Campbell, didn't he get hurt in high school in the playoffs and he came back in the second half and led his team on a comeback victory even though his leg was all banged up, despite the fact that he's a big recruit. You never see that with offensive linemen, that kind of story. And so this guy's been different since day one. And yeah, man, I mean, we asked this question on Off the Bench, it's not crazy to make the argument that Will Campbell is the best left tackle you've had since Andrew Whitworth. And it's not to say there haven't been good tackles, but there haven't really been great tackles. I mean, Joe Barksdale was a beast, but even he in the NFL ended up playing right tackle. Will Campbell is someone that feels like he will be playing left tackle in the NFL on Sundays, and that's as he is a true freshman that is 18 years old and should be going to prom.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Les didn't recruit a lot of tackles. That just wasn't the way that.
No, he tried to do a weird, it never just a true bookend.
It was never a bookend tackle. How we tried to eat, like you mentioned, Barksdale. Barksdale was a defensive lineman who played right tackle, and then as a senior in 2010, played left tackle out of necessity after, I guess, Saron Black, and then I'm trying to think who followed Saron.
At right tackle?
No, at left.
Oh,
Saron
was the left
tackle.
Yeah,
so then he followed Saron.
It was Joe. It was Joe right after
Joe
Saron.
followed Saron, and then Lyle flipped over there. I guess no. You had Greg Shaw on your team, and then
we had Greg Shaw who played a little tackle. We had Alex Hurst who played a little tackle
right.
and guard.
Who am I missing?
Falk.
Falk. It was Falk.
Chris
So
Falk.
then Falk was 11, and then after Falk left, Lyle slid in there his last season. When he came back, he moved from right to left.
Yeah, no, and look, I remember Joe moving right to left because he was like, dude, this is it's my NFL year. This is the big money position. This is what I want to try to do. Where Will Campbell is different is he has stepped in and taken that job, that big money job, the job that maybe previous to this recent run on wide receivers in the league, the job that gets paid as much as anybody in the NFL, right? It was always quarterback, pass rushers, offensive tackle. Will Campbell has taken that job. And again, it's been a long time Since that even Ethan Posick, who had the size, was not necessarily a tackle. Now, he played every single position on the offensive line, which is fantastic. But it is and wild.
But, I mean, yeah, that's a better adjective.
Yeah, I've never really. There's maybe one or two other guys that I've seen do that. But that's the thing. Will Campbell doesn't need to play guard or center because he is a true put me on the island, give me the knife, and let me do the wet work type of guy. And it's just something you haven't had. And you know why? Because you don't produce it. Where's Will Campbell from? Neville. I mean, the last one you would have produced was Cam Robinson, and he got snagged by Alabama, right? So, like, the point is,
he was West Monroe.
No. But what I'm saying is the state does not produce these guys very often.
That's true.
So when they
do, before that it was Lyle.
Yeah, and so when they do, you have to try to hit him. And really just a nice break for this Kelly staff that early on they have a combo like Walker Howard and Will Campbell that are committed to the school rather than the coach.
They cut off their leg to play for LSU. That's all that mattered. And that's the big difference that Brian Kelly is going to have here. Like, did you hear Brian Kelly and Rich Eisen today?
No.
So Brian Kelly did an interview on Rich Eisen. It's in so many words. Rich Eisen asked him about like differences right now between recruiting at Notre Dame and at LSU. And Rich made a kind of tongue-in-cheek joke like, you can get players into school at LSU.
Yeah, about the academics. Everybody does.
That's what everybody tries to do. Which I mean, it's true, but like it was a low-hanging fruit move by Rich. But I thought Brian Kelly handled it properly. And the way he said is, we can cast a wider net here, and he's right in saying that. But the other inherent disadvantage, like you saw Ogeron talking to Notre Dame, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
I did,
and Ed said, you're with this team, with this staff, like you're going to win a natty, like you're going to win it all. Like, no, they're not. Notre Dame is never going to win it all again. And the problem is, I don't mean to make this about them, but it's more about Brian Kelly and why he's here, right? It's nice. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But the inherent problem that Brian Kelly had at Notre Dame was, yes, you had academic requirements, which limited the pool that you were fishing in. And then the facility stuff that Kelly talked about was legit, right? We talked about at LSU, they have you're a chef for football, and you have your own nutrition facility, dining hall.
They didn't have that.
No. So here's the thing, like, and I know this, like I live there, but in South Bend at Notre Dame, first of all, the city's a shithole. Like, all respect to anybody who lives there, but it's a shithole, and no one's going. Like, it's not like Athens, Georgia. Like you would go to be in Athens.
I don't remember anything around.
Like Notre Dame is South Bend, Indiana is just a terrible place. I told you this, bro. I told you.
No, you're not wrong. Look, I'm not disagreeing. I stayed there for a week.
I told you about like Father Soren, the priest that founded the school. Like, he founded it there because the land was so bad.
Real
it was
estate,
cheap.
dude.
And then the way they got roads built there is your boy put a post office. So if there's a post office, then the federal government has to build federal roads to the school. That's how they got roads to the school. But anyway, so like they value their culture so much. There's some things they won't bend.
Bro, when I was being recruited, they didn't even have athletic dorms. They still do that.
That's the point.
They have such a hard on about making like people like, no, you have to stay with the general student population.
80%, like every student lives on campus for your first 3 years. You live on campus for the first 3 years, and you're assigned a dorm. And there are no athletic dorms. So like you lived in ECA or
WCA
or West Campus apartments, either way. Like there isn't that. Like, as a freshman, you could show up from Baton Rouge as a freshman student, and you could be rooming with the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Like in the dorm.
Yeah.
And then you stay in the dorm, and you eat meals with the dorm. You sit with the dorm.
I want to be clear about this too. It's not as much rooming with it's not like rooming with like general student population. Like, what the hell is that about? The athletic dorms at other schools are just nice as fuck.
They're nice,
dude.
exactly.
They're just nice, dude. You
got
a bed, you got a washer, you got
So that's
your
the
own
point,
room.
right? If you're Brian Kelly and you're trying to bring stud quarterback in to South Bend and you show him this shitty dorm where he's going to just be rooming with, a math major, like from Connecticut, like as opposed to then you come to LSU and there's airplane first class pods in the locker room. You know what I mean? Or you go to Bama and there's a barber shop in the football house.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at Bama there's just like, oh look, it's a fucking spaceship. Like it's a Bezos. It's like you want to go to low orbit? Here you go, dude.
But that's the problem. So and that's the kind of stuff culturally that Notre Dame is never going to change, that is a hindrance. It's why, like, Brian Kelly's a great coach, and he could win a bunch of games, and he could maximize the talent he had, but ultimately 1-85, his roster, 1-22, maybe he could line up with Bama, with LSU, with Georgia, but 1-85, bro, you're not going to make it.
Can't do it.
You can't do it. So good luck to Marcus Freeman. He's never winning a national championship at Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame fans have crapped on Brian Kelly, saying, like, it was Brian Kelly. He couldn't get – no. No one has won a title there since 1988, bro. It's been 35 years.
Yeah.
35 years, man. Like,
they claim double digits.
That's a you problem.
And like every other one is like, pre-integration and everything.
No, there's only one. There's only one that was bullshit.
Oh, there's only one?
There's only one that was bullshit.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Anyway.
There he goes, running down the field. It's the Fighting Irish, America's favorite team.
I don't mean to make it about Notre Dame. The point is, when Brian Kelly illustrates in a very, very tactful way, by the way, I thought he did a good job.
Well, I mean,
why he's here, the difference.
Tactful.
Like, now I'm using far less tact. I'm telling you why he was fighting with a hand tied behind his back, bro. And then think about the conference affiliation. Like, Notre Dame was a one-loss team this year. What if they had a conference championship game? They probably would have gotten in.
Yeah, they could have gotten.
But they didn't have a conference championship game because they're going to collect a check.
Well,
for with their NBC contract, and they don't want to be in a conference. Okay, well, that's a detriment to you.
Now he has a conference, and it's a conference featuring Alabama and Georgia, and the just fascinating experiment that Texas A&M is. It is going to be wild. Did you already see the Texas had a senior linebacker calling out the team today for shitty attitudes in the post-NIL space?
Yes.
Like, just basically saying everybody's got their money, guys don't want to work hard, they're not really fucking with it anymore, all they're worried about is making money.
Like, he's not doing media anymore. All right, so we want to get to, if you're watching live, thank you. We're going to get to some of your comments here in a quick second. A lot of people are asking about two-quarterback system, and we have breaking news in basketball, which we'll get to. I do want to talk about this. So one of the cool things being here at Oliver Twist that the guys here have agreed to do every week is they're doing what they call a break-even bottle. So they're going to take a rare allocated release every week, which, if you're not familiar, like some of these, like a place like Oliver Twist may get like one bottle of a rare allocated release.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then when you obviously, you understand how markups work. It's just like you buy something at wholesale and you sell it at retail. So
I'm a general studies major. I get it.
Sure. So
took econ.
But so what they're doing is they're taking, for us on Wednesdays, one of their allocated bottles, and they're not marking it up. They're selling it at a break-even price, pours while we're here. So you can come and try rare stuff that would normally cost you a lot of money to try. You could try dirt cheap. So what I'm drinking today is the Old Elk Infinity Series, and these are $6 pours tonight. It's a break-even bottle. This is a blend of 4 different whiskeys. It's their 6-year, 10, 11, and 12-year. And I'm going to tell you, man, the first sip I had, you saw my reaction to it, oily mouthfeel. You don't get a lot of the burn, but you get the full finish, and it's very complex. I mean, it is a really, really, really nice pour. $6 for this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that last week, I know the pour was $7, but a normal pour would have been $30. So you were talking about over a 70% savings. I got to imagine it's the same this week. So come get some of that. They got me. I guess, you drink a bottle of mezcal once on whiskey and wine, everybody thinks you're tequila crazy. But they gave me
the Kentucky game was such a shit.
They gave me the El Diablo. Yeah, in more ways than one.
Oh, my God.
What do you mean? In every fucking possible way.
Every way.
Kentucky took us and fucked us up in the trenches, beat the shit out of us, bent us over their knee, and sent us home. It was awful. But I'm drinking the El Diablo, a little cream de cassis, there's a little lime juice, paño syrup, a little tequila, ginger beer. This is being added to happy hour all week, and it's delicious. An excellent summer drink. Nice and light, with tequila.
Some news just that came across. Justice Williams is returning to LSU. I love that. I think Justice Williams has the potential to be that sharpshooter offensive threat. He was an early enrollee. Remember, he's a 5-star early enrollee. Battled some injuries and then didn't play until It was the Auburn game. Was his the road game? It was the first game he played on the season, and he had
Brandon Murray was down.
Everybody had a rough game in that game, but I like Justice Williams. I'm glad he's staying. So now you get Justice Williams. You've got Mwani back as well. So that's 2 returning. The 4 transfers that you've gotten already. The high school signee that you've gotten. You're starting to build the roster. So now you're at 7, right?
I'm a little fresh El Diablo. Why did Eric Gaines leave, dude? Didn't he go to UAB?
He went to UAB.
Andy Kennedy or something, man?
He landed at UAB, and Fudge is at Florida. They announced that today.
I mean, I just would have loved to see. I mean, you look at Ja Morant, you think about Eric Gaines. Obviously one is not the other. That's not what I'm saying, right? But Eric Gaines was a dynamic, slashing guard with great defensive skills. It feels like he would have fit Matt McMahon perfectly. And, I mean, I don't know, UAB.
Well, this is why. He goes and recruits his guard from Murray State, Justice Hill, and if Eric Gaines wants to be the starting point guard, he wasn't going to be that behind Xavier Pinson this year.
Yeah.
And if you go recruit Justice Hill to be your starting point guard,
that's true.
Gaines is basically stuck and pigeonholed in the same role. So Andy Kennedy goes, bro, come, you're my starting point guard day one. And by the way, come win the league and you can go in the tournament. LSU's not going to the tournament this year.
Yeah,
so
did they go to the tournament this year though?
UAB, no, they didn't. But they were
pretty good.
They were really good in CUSA, and I think they got bounced in their tournament. But that's just not a league that's going to be a 2-bid league. But anyway.
Oh man, Galactic Funk playing the halftime show tonight.
That's the wheat
at the Pelicans game.
This is awesome.
Massive deal. Saw Galactic Funk at Hogs for the Cause last week. Fantastic. Or 2 weeks ago.
Shout out to everybody who's watching. By the way, if you are watching us live on YouTube, if you would, smash the like button. It's a giant help. Facebook, if you would, like the page, share the post. If you're not listening or watching live, you're listening or watching on demand, we appreciate you for being there as well. But there's a lot of people in the YouTube chat who are asking about a 2-quarterback system.
I think the volume's on, by the way.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
No, you're good. Okay, Master Tech. How would you guys feel if the staff decides on a 2-quarterback system? Scares me personally. I'll start here. I don't think they're going to go 2-quarterback. They have said publicly that while they've done that in the past, it is never the ideal. I was more of getting the feeling that they were saying that, look, we will tailor the offense in practice to these quarterback strengths, and then we will just decide who we think with that tailored offense will be more productive. So it's not that they'll be practicing the exact same plays or really same selection. Certainly there'll be crossover in that Venn diagram, but that they're just basically going to say, okay, is us running a more RPO-oriented offense with Jaden Daniel, is that going to lead to more success than us maybe slinging it with Miles a bit more? And then you have Walker and Garrett and how they fit in. So no, I don't think that we're heading for a 2-quarterback system.
So I agree. I don't think we're headed for a 2-quarterback system. And the only time when I think it ever even has merit is if there's a quarterback who has such a distinctly unique skill set that it warrants being on the field and taking your quarterback off.
I think I know who you're talking about from last year, maybe.
Well, Taysom Hill would be an example when you could have the Taysom Hill package with the Saints. The LSU example is Ryan Perrilloux. Ryan Perrilloux was such a dynamic athlete that you could take Matt Flynn off the field or you could split Matt Flynn out wide, and you didn't lose anything in any capacity of the game physically. Perrilloux could make any throw you wanted, and he was dynamic enough of a running threat that you had to respect it. The play, you need the.
I'm good. I got it. Yeah,
the Wi-Fi password.
The Wi-Fi from Jake in a second. Apparently, exactly. It has to be somebody that's like a
you want me to
drastic.
Write it down for you, or you want me to log you in?
Yeah, it'd be great actually. It has to be someone who's a drastic. I was thinking of Anthony Richardson last year, right?
That's
like
yes.
like well, he'd come in like 80-yard touchdowns. Like he's represented something different than oh shit, what was the boy's name?
Emory Jones.
Emory Jones, yes. who interestingly is the other side of this coin, Matt, where they should not have been forcing Emory Jones in the past. Like Emory Jones was not enough of a different skill set than was Kyle Trask when they were doing that, and it cost Florida, right?
Look, it cost him in the LSU game in 2019.
Yeah, literally. Like I think Anthony Richardson was more was definitely more justifiable. Perrilloux more justifiable. I don't know that Jaden Daniels, that his running skills, like it's not like he's not a giant like Anthony Richardson. He's not hyper athletic like Ryan Perlew was, but could still really throw the ball. Like I just don't know that it's different enough skill set. Like what I mean, him and Garrett Nussmeier.
Jaden Daniels?
Yeah.
Oh, Jaden Daniels' ability to run the football is a differentiator. There's none of the other three can run like he can. So we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. You're good. You're good. You're logged in.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, well then. So you're saying that maybe there is a situation there where they have packages.
I absolutely believe that you could have a situation where, but I don't think Jaden Daniels came here to be a gadget guy that's going to run out there every now and again and run a quarterback draw. And ideally, you'd get Miles Brennan to a point where he's comfortable doing some of that. It's not going to be dynamic, but you'd at least have to respect it, like you did with Burrow in 2019. I mean,
I wonder.
The play in 2019 that everyone will talk about in the Alabama game is the draw that Burrow ran on, what was it, like 3rd and 9?
Yeah, but the problem is Burrow is from like Burrow has an intuition when he has the ball on his hand in terms of how to make defenders miss.
That's different. Okay, that's different. I'm not talking about intuition. I'm just talking about like physical ability to tuck the ball. If the C's part and you want your quarterback to tuck the ball and run it up the middle, is Miles Brennan capable of doing that? Yeah, he's not going to be as dynamic athletically as Jaden Daniels is, or the intuition that Burrow. Okay, I'm fine with that, but no, I mean, can you give me 8-9 yards and move the chains?
Yeah, we've seen like Danny Etling like a fucking 60-yarder in NFL preseason.
I don't need you to be Mike Vick. I don't need you to be Lamar Jackson. I just need you, when the opportunity presents, to move the chains.
What I'm going to be interested in is, let's say it's a Miles Brennan offense. Like, how are you going to run? Or do you really tailor it more? Like they're kind of paying lip service to. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. This finish this spring will tell us a lot about. The finish this spring will tell us a lot. It's going to be tough to say because I don't think we're going to see in the spring game. They're obviously going to keep things under the wraps. But the finish this spring could inform us somewhat on how much the coaches are really willing to tailor this offense or how much of this is just lip service. And at the end of the day, it's his mouth. Where he's like, he talked about, of course, it starts with personnel, and that's how we're going to form this offense. But we also want to line up and be able to say, hey, we're running it here. Like, come stop us, which is maybe a bit of a red flag in that it shows a bit of a brittle inflexibility, but maybe even more so than that. I don't know if LSU has the O-line for that just now, right? Like, I don't know if LSU's offensive line is going to be good enough to line up and say, hey, we're running it here, get ready.
All right, I want to do this exercise, and by the way, if you're watching live, thank you. Drop questions because we will wrap up the podcast doing like an Ask Us type deal. So fire away with questions. We'll get to all of your questions at the end of the episode. If I asked you, all right, let's go through both sides of the ball based on what you've seen at just past the halfway point of spring, what we feel like we know about the team, like where are the strengths and weaknesses? If I say start on the offensive side of the ball, what do you think is the best unit on the offensive side? Like if I said go best to worst on the offensive side, how would you rate it?
I mean, it's still obviously got to be wide receiver number one.
Absolutely. I don't even think that's a question. And you add a guy like Kyron Lacey to this squad. You don't even have Kayshon Boutte out there right now. I mean, you're hearing dudes out there say Malik Neighbors is looking like that's what I'm talking about.
Really
Brian Thomas,
good,
freaking
Jack Bech still in that mix.
Jack Bech. Brian Kelly can't stop talking about Chris Hilton every time he's in front of a microphone. It's because he sees a dude that's a high jump and a sprint champion that can't even get on the field last year. You know what I mean? So wide receiver, of course, is the top. After that,
it's kind of a bit of a muddied mix. I mean, does it sound crazy? Like, I don't hate the quarterback room. Like, I know we don't have a clear quarterback, but I think there's a lot of talent in there. And this also sounds crazy. I've talked about it on my show. Maybe I'm just giving him too much credit, but I almost want to go running back next. I feel like John Emery is poised to have a great year. I like Noah Cain being in that room. I like having what's his name back from Oklahoma once again.
Trey Bradford.
Okay, gun to my head. If I'm choosing a second position group,
I don't know how you. So I would look at where are there the least amount of questions? That's kind of how when I look at a team in a preseason, I always do this. I go, okay, what's your schedule? Who has the most manageable schedule? and the least amount of questions on their roster. Right? That's how I do it. That's how I manage, like, do I think this team is going to be good? Are they going to get too good? All that stuff. So I look at LSU and I go, receiver undeniably is the top on the offensive side of the ball. After that, I actually look at the offensive line. As crazy as that sounds, you have 10 guys that have all started games, though.
I know.
Like, and in the second half of the season, they got better.
They did get better.
They got better as the year went along.
Like, Marlon Martinez took drastic strides forward.
Now, after that, I would go quarterback because I agree with you. You have a guy that started 30 games. You got a 6-year player, Miles Brennan, and you got 2 young cats that you think are really talented, could be really good players. So I would go quarterback. After that, I would go running back because you have none of your running backs, none of them has done a damn thing. Now, you are getting the transfer Noah Cain from Penn State, who will be here in June, but and he was a
back to. And again, I think that once we get past wide receiver, we're really almost like splitting hairs. So I'm not even arguing with that. Like, that's a fine ranking. Like, that all made a lot of sense. One thing that has struck me about Emory, and I think Wilson Alexander wrote about this, but we're talking about Mike Denbrock, right? He has really gone out of his way to avoid singling players out, right? When he's talking about quarterback and everything, he won't say anything. And Wilson pointed this out. Credit to him in The Advocate. The lone exception to that has been John Emory. And he has been very, very high on John Emory and very praiseworthy of John Emory. So I don't know. I just feel like Emory's prepared to make moves, senior leader, all this other stuff. So, yes, my ranking of them second is definitely presumptive, 100%. And then
tight end's dead last.
Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just negging the offensive line too hard. I have a little trouble with a freshman starting left tackle, and then my other big question mark is really center. It's Charles Turner. And I like that they're putting Turner in front of the media, right? Like, they are. Yeah. Brian Kelly's made a concerted effort to say, look, this is a huge opportunity for Turner. He has not mastered the position by any sense, but we think that physically and mentally he can, right? And he's moving in that direction. But there's so much pressure on him to make it work.
Let me interrupt you. Because you played the position.
Yeah.
When did you feel physically is different because everybody's different? But actually, Charles Turner showed up at 266.
No, we had a very similar. Yeah, we had a very similar.
And you redshirted. He redshirted.
Well, and now he is going through a spring where he is supposed to be the guy, and I went through that as well.
In 10?
When I went through it in 09, going to my redshirt sophomore year, when I went through it, I did not have the best spring. Not the last few practices. I balled out in the game or whatever, that went well, but I didn't have the last practice. I entered fall camp as the backup because of that. Like, I had all this pressure on me to do it. I didn't necessarily do it as well as it should have been done. And then so I got put, and then so I entered the backup camp. I ended up winning the job in the end, which again, why, pole position and all that in fall camp is when these jobs are actually decided. But I guess there's a lot of pressure on Charles Turner to do things in the same way that we're talking about not seeing John Emory do things he hasn't done before. We have to see Charles Turner do a lot of things that we haven't seen him do before. Now, he had to play tackle and shit last year. And so if you play tackle, like, your fucking nuts have dropped. Like, you're good. You should be able to play center. But I guess that's maybe my hesitance on the offensive line. Is it still question marks? I think there's talent, and there is experience now, but there's still question marks throughout.
And I want to add, Brian Kelly before spring said, and I quote about the offensive line, "We're not done there." Like, they tried to add Tyler Steen from Vanderbilt. He picked Bama. Chump, whatever.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'm really not mad at the kid. I get it.
Nah, go make like $250K or whatever.
I get it. But 2 kids from Georgia, both former 5-stars, one a center, one a tackle, have entered the transfer portal.
Ooh.
You could land one of those guys. So they're not done. They could add more bodies. And then defense. If I ask you the same thing, rank.
Okay. I'm still going D-line, even though I need more. I need more dominance from them this year. I feel like I hyped them up so much last year, and they were good. Like, I mean, think about what they did against Alabama, right? Like, they're probably better than what I'm giving them credit for.
But you lose Farrell and Logan, which is big in the middle.
Yeah. But now Jaquelin Roy and company should be ready to completely take over, right? So I'll go D-line first. Bro, I really like the inside linebacker group. I really do. I think you got real depth there. I mean, Baskerville isn't even starting, and yet Baskerville was the guy that made your season the last couple of years.
Baskerville's starting.
You think he's starting over Penn and
Baskerville and
Mike Jones?
Baskerville and Mike Jones are going to be your starters. I think Penn's going to rotate in, but we have not seen Penn play at all. People have hyped him. We haven't seen him. And then after that, you go nobody. Sampa, Wes Weeks, the kid from Virginia. You don't have anybody that's played outside of Baskerville. I mean, Mike Jones didn't really play last year.
I mean, he didn't play middle. He played a lot at the end of the season. He just played more outside.
But he was playing outside, playing inside backer. He came here to be an inside backer, and he couldn't win that spot. Damone Clark in Baskerville wrestled it away, and he just sat at the bench.
Yeah, but he's winning this year's spot.
Out of necessity. There's nobody else. That's my point.
No, I mean, you still got they wait. I mean, yes, you don't want Jared Small in your ones, obviously.
Who's going to play there? That's my point.
Oh, and then you got Harold Perkins coming in. No, man, I think it's on linebackers.
Then that's
straight.
But then that's the same point you're making about.
You got three.
Okay, and one guy goes down, you're fucked.
You got 3 for 2. You got 3 for 2. I think you're fine there.
And one guy gets hurt.
But again, I'm being presumptuous here because I am buying into the Greg Penn hype. All of the Greg Penn teammates say that he is the next in line.
So maybe so.
And everybody else that's been said about has paid massive dividends.
All right, go back to the point I made at the beginning. I'm looking at what do you know? Now what do you speculate? What do you know?
Yeah, but you ranked offensive line second. There's
me,
question marks every single fucking position on the offensive line.
But I told you I have a whole bunch of guys that have started.
Left tackle.
But I have a whole bunch of guys that have started.
Yeah, kind of.
I've added Tremont Shorts. I've added Miles Frazier, and then I got all the other guys that have started. I think they're going to figure it out. But the point of this whole thing is still, you've got a lot of question marks. As excited as we can be,
everywhere.
It's still everywhere.
Yes.
I would go actually defensive line, then I would go safety, number 2 on the defense side of the ball. Major Burns didn't even play. Jay Ward's back. You added Fouché and Brooks, who you know can play in the SEC. And we're not even talking yet about Sage Ryan, Tolles. I mean,
that's
you are
fair.
Loaded.
I'll change my mind. Safety second.
You are loaded at safety.
Safety second.
I think it's your biggest question. How do you get all those guys on the field? Now, corner, I have no clue. Linebacker, I'm not nearly as bullish as you are. I think linebacker, corner.
Can't play for the spring, and he'll be back in June. But no, I mean, actually, that was one of the quotes that stood out to me from Kelly's halfway press conference. He was painfully clear that no, corner needs work. They are not done there. It seems like O-line, tight end, cornerback are the 3 transfer portal positions that Kelly has been constantly harping on as the positions that they still need to add.
They got 2 spots left. Okay, so we're going to get to questions to wrap up the show in about 5 minutes.
If push came to shove, where would you go there, dude? I mean, I would rank corner and O-line above tight end. But I know they really like tight end, so I don't know. I'm saying you got 2 spots, but let's say you really want 3 guys. Who gets kicked out the boat?
If there is a tight end available, you have got to get a tight end.
Okay.
I don't even think that's you have nobody. I mean, you're talking about moving a receiver or a defensive lineman to tight end. You're playing a high school quarterback.
So then O-line has to be the odd man out then, because you need a cornerback in the same way.
So they like Mekhi Gardner, the ULL transfer.
Yeah.
They like him a lot. And Bernard Converse was all Big 12. So if those 2 guys are healthy, I think you can roll with them. I'm not saying that you have Stingley and Ricks with those 2, but you got 2 good starting cornerbacks. Good. Okay? I am most interested. This is the thing I'm going to be most interested in defensively. We have seen in the past guys at corner step up that we didn't expect to. But when they got their turn, they were ready to roll.
Yeah.
Dwight McGlothern did it in 2020. Greedy Williams did it in 2017. Dude, Greedy Williams redshirted. He redshirted his freshman year in 2016. In 2017, right before the start of the season, Fulton was ineligible. Somebody got hurt. I forget who it was. He had to start against BYU. Gets a pick that week. Gets a pick the second week. Never left the field. Became an All-American.
Who was CB1 that year? Why am I blanking? I got massive arguments on that.
In 17?
Yes. Devonta. George plays for the Panthers.
It was Dante
Jackson. Yes. Yeah. Dante Jackson. Yes. Dante Jackson was – well, I guess I just used to argue all the time that year because Dante Jackson was actually CB1, so a lot of action got forced Greedy way, and Greedy dominated.
Greedy was awesome.
But they were both awesome. To your point, they were both awesome. But that's the big question, right? I mean, we're here in the post-Corey Raymond era. It's scary waters to be in. It's unfamiliar waters. You haven't been there in a long time, dude. You're trying to rebuild this idea of DBU without the man who was quite literally the – heart and soul.
He was literally
of DBU. Yes,
he was literally the heart.
In this case, literally
the heart and soul.
Yes, the common denominator.
Like last week when everything you owned literally exploded.
I mean, it was fucking debris everywhere.
Your life literally
detritus
exploded.
all floating around. It was crazy.
It's so fucking stupid. All right.
Detritus is a good word, dude.
Do you want to talk baseball so you can feel dumb?
Hey, how about it, dude? Hey, Jay Johnson managed the fuck out of that series, dude. Every single pitch and change, just fucking genius.
Real talk.
Yeah.
How much of the series did you watch?
Friday and Saturday. I did not watch Sunday.
Did you watch the entire game Friday and Saturday?
No, I caught the last 3 innings Friday, and I did catch the whole Saturday game. But this is something that I do too, is I go back and watch the YouTube is awesome. For like NFL Sunday, I'll go back and watch all the 10-minute game recaps. They're great. Give you the highlights.
That is really great.
Yeah, and on LSU, there's all these illegal channels that do it for SEC baseball, and it's every single out of the game. I'm like, okay, dude, fuck yeah, dude, let's fucking ride. But no, I mean, obviously, super hyped to see that end live Friday night. I mean, okay, my favorite fucking part about sports, my favorite part are the dueling narratives that hang in the air when you sit on the edge of a result, right? And so when LSU is down, they're 4-5, tied with 4 and 5 Mississippi State. They're down to one fucking strike, not a single person on. Like everything is working in Mississippi State's fashion at that moment in time. As that ball is leaving the pitcher's hand on that 3-2 count, it's all Mississippi State, right? Everything is just dueling.
It was 1-2, but yeah.
Well, no. He eventually walks him, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting a 3-2 here. But no. But so as the full count pitch is leaving his hand, right? Everything's hanging in the balance. What a fucking take! What a fucking take! He hits the bag. Next thing you know, pitcher falls apart. Next thing you know, LSU fucking sweeps him. Like, that is what fascinates me about sports, is that we would have all been bitching. Who knows if they would have won Game 2? Who knows if they would have won Game 3? Like, it all came down to this singular moment in time. And all of a sudden, now, with my football brain, I'm like, I mean, bro, we're fucking 7-5. We're great. About to go to Fayetteville and kick fucking Arkansas's ass, dude.
By the way, did you see Tennessee lost to Tennessee Tech?
What?
They lost 3-2.
What?
So clearly, by the way, Tennessee's finished, right? Because midweek games are so critical because meatheads like you say, well, fuck, it all matters because it's competition and you got to go blah, blah, blah,
What,
blah,
dude?
blah,
I don't give a
blah, blah,
fuck
blah.
about the midweek. You think I watch a midweek baseball game? Are you fucking high right now?
I'm not saying you're watching midweek baseball,
me, dude.
but that's the bullshit that I've heard for
you
5 years
now. You come in and get
now.
mad about midweek baseball, bro?
That's the bullshit I've heard for 5 years about midweek games.
The only thing I like about the midweek is, okay, who pitched well? Okay, let's maybe see him on the weekend. That's all I give a fuck about. I only like, the reason why I have fallen for college baseball more and more as I've gotten older is the SEC weekend schedule. It's so easy to keep track of. It's only 14 teams. You can get on the standings, get on the stats, have some fun looking around at everything. It's fucking 3 games every week. You know exactly what to expect. 30 games overall. It makes the jockeying super fun to pay attention to. So, no, man, I don't give a fuck about no midweek game, dude. Get out of here.
I'm not saying you're locked
You
into every
said
pit.
like, oh, there's the fucking media. It's like, oh, midweek games matter. Bro, win in the fucking SEC. That's all I care about. Now, I think that midweek games can be indicators
Taylor Calandro, everybody.
of whether or not you can win in the
Taylor
SEC.
Calandro.
That's right, dude. He hooked me up
Big
with some
shout
golf
out.
clubs, dude.
Mark Calandro.
Oh.
We got Mark Calandro.
Yeah, we met at a Game of
We got
Thrones
the
dinner
Godfather. Right? Oh,
many years ago, dude. Many years ago now at this point. They had to listen to me talk about Game of Thrones while feeding them Game of Thrones wine for like 2 hours.
So, real quick, Jay Johnson did announce the rotation. They're sticking with the same as last week. They'll go Hilliard, Money, TBA. Connor Noland is the Friday night guy for Arkansas. Oddly, so they started the season, or were going into the season with Peyton Paulette as their Friday night guy. Tore his UCL, Tommy John, in January. So that kind of sucks. It's kind of like what happened to Jaden Hill last year. You think you're going to have this horse at the front of your rotation, and then he's hurt and he's done for the year. Noland was a back end of the bullpen guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Zach Hess, guy that throws 97 in the back of the bullpen, and now he's your Friday night guy. So he can shove, he can get strikeouts, but he doesn't go deep into games. 5th, 6th inning max, he's out. And they got a couple of good guys behind him. They'll throw a lefty in game 2, and then he's a lefty freshman.
Are we still worried about lefties?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then a righty freshman in game 3 who can throw 100. So But you got young guys. You got young guys that haven't necessarily handled adversity well, and their offense, oddly, Arkansas is 10th in the SEC in batting average. They haven't really hit it as well. The thing to keep in mind, though, Arkansas's power alleys at Baum Walker are 365. At the box, they're 385 to the power alleys. So LSU puts balls in the air. Like, you could be talking about a weekend where, and by the way, both ways, where balls in the air are going to leave the yard.
Crank it.
So this is one of those weekends where if LSU's putting the ball in the air, yeah, I'll take LSU's bats. I'll take LSU's bats against
damn near
anybody in the country.
You know what is the most shocking thing to me?
Jake just gave us like a 10.
I know, Jake's doing his job, and you're like waving him away.
It doesn't matter how it's a podcast.
Great,
It doesn't matter how long we go. Sorry, Jake. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's used to whiskey and wine.
I know.
Dude.
Sorry, Jake. I literally just did that. Like, he went right behind the camera in our sight line.
He's trying to do good, dude.
I thought he went in my sight line. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I love Jake, though.
No, okay. So
sorry, bro. I didn't mean to shoot.
I will take.
I was intentionally shooing you, but I wasn't thinking. It's a podcast. We can go. But we'll be done soon.
I will take
Jake.
LSU's bats.
Jake Barty, ladies and gentlemen.
But what fucking shocked me, dude, LSU is third in the SEC in team ERA.
That's not shocking.
In conference play and on the season as a whole.
That's not shocking. They've got good arms. What they don't have is good starting pitching that you can give the ball to Aaron Nola, to Alex Lang, to Landon Marceau and say, man, go shove on a Friday, give me 8 innings and allow one run and win a game.
So you're going to tell me that's not – I mean, I feel you.
No,
like,
because
maybe we watch it close enough where it's not shocking. But, like, I think it's pretty fucking shocking that you don't even have a, like, real weekend starter type guy.
Because
and yet you're third best ERA in the SEC.
You have depth of good arms, but here's the difference. You said ERA. What does ERA stand for?
Earned run average.
That does not account for errors.
Yeah.
Which is what has been LSU's undoing. Look at the game against Mississippi State when K. Doty's going down the right field line.
I'm not even talking about like the scores of game here. I'm just
talking
about the fact that
you calculated ERA.
I know, but what I'm talking about is the general disconnect between not even feeling like you have like a single weekend starter, but being the third best team ERA. That's what I'm fucking talking about. I'm not talking about how the game's actually. I'm talking about the general disconnect. I mean, nobody, if I told you Mikhail Hilliard was starting on Friday preseason, you would have never thought they would have the third best ERA in the SEC. Bottom fucking line. And I will say this for Mikhail Hilliard.
You had so many guys that came back that you weren't expecting. When you had Devin Fontenot come back, Trent Vittmeyer come back, when you added Riley Cooper, when you added Collins. Like, you added guys, Bryce Collins, dudes that were experienced pitchers. You just didn't know how it was all going to function. The reality with this staff, though, is because Jay and Jason Kelly have done a really good job of finding leverage situations and pushing the right button of the right guy in the right time for a matchup to get an out. Like, you're just going to have games where they use 8 pitchers, and it's going to take 4.5 hours. I mean, that's just like that's what these games are going to be.
No, look, I love it, man. I think that Jay Johnson shows a lot of confidence in himself, right? Like, it's been one of those things where in the past, like, I don't understand baseball well enough to fully speak to the depth or the nuance of these decisions that Jay Johnson is making, but I can do the fucking armchair quarterback sports talk hindsight 2020 thing and be like, it fucking worked or it didn't work. And the bottom line is that dude made pitching change after pitching change, like, a couple outs here, a couple outs there, all Friday and Saturday, and every fucking one worked. And guess what? He knows that he has to manage the hell out of this team in that fashion if he's going to produce the team best 3rd ERA overall. And it does make you think about maybe, just kind of recent years where it didn't feel like there was an understanding of the staff like you have this year. And that's probably also credit to Coach Kelly.
I just think, all right, so last thing on baseball, then we'll go to your questions. So if you got questions, fire away.
We'll
wrap up with that.
in the chat.
I've always said this about baseball. The old adage is you fail 70% of the time, you're in the Hall of Fame. Most of the time what you do is not going to work. Like, that's just statistically proven. That's baseball. So as long as you have if you have sound logic behind the decision you make, then I can live with the result. I'm not going to hindsight you if it worked or if it didn't work. Like, if you have if you call I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
I know you weren't watching, but on Saturday, they called a hit and run. Braden Jobear's on first. Jordan Thompson's batting. And they call a hit and run. So Jobear takes off. And it's a tight ball game. That was a game that ended up 4-3. And
I mean, you didn't watch, so I can give you the
was
score. It's 4-3, but whatever. Continue.
All right. So and Thompson ended up hitting the homer that was ultimately the game winning run. But
correct.
Thompson swings through a pitch, and Joe Bear gets pegged at second base.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Thompson has got to hit the baseball. Like you're a college athlete. You're getting a fastball. You know it's coming. Your only job when a hit and run is called is to make contact with the baseball. That's it. Doesn't matter where you have got to make contact with the baseball to protect that runner. Well, it didn't work. Jordan Thompson swung through the pitch. Joe Bear's out. Well, am I going to go crap on Jay Johnson for calling a hit and run? In that situation, he's trying to get action on the bases to try to get something going in a game where they haven't been able to break through against the reliever at that point. Like, no. I mean, it didn't work because the guy didn't execute, but I understand why he did it. So if that's what you feel like you need, that's it. Okay, I can live with the result. It doesn't always mean it's the right call or that I agree with the decision, but I can respect the call.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I just don't have that depth of understanding of baseball. So I, like the rest of us, I'm relegated to just kind of sitting and watching and cheering.
Well, you can ask.
Or jeering.
All right, let's get to questions before we wrap up here. Big shout-out again to Oliver Twist. Man, I love coming here.
Love coming here, dude.
It's an awesome spot. We're on Perkins, right behind Solu, near Essen. Again, the break-even bottle tonight, if you want to get by, is the Old Elk Infinity Series. It was sensational. I love my pour of it. I also had a little pour of the Old Elk wheat, which was awesome. So y'all check it out here at Oliver Twist or any of the thousands, literally, of bottles behind us. If there's something you're looking for, pour up, they have it here.
Yeah, also, remember, we're going to be here every single Wednesday, 7-8, okay? And we're going to have the break-even bottles. There's going to be great cocktail specials. The food here is fantastic. Remember last week we had some fries covered in gumbo with, like, pulled pork and jalapeno stuff. It was crazy. So the point is, we're here for this entire year, every single Wednesday, 7-8. So if y'all want to come kick it, let's drink.
We've literally committed to being here every Wednesday.
Literally.
Me with you every Wednesday.
Correctly.
All
Use
of them.
the correct literally.
I know.
How about that?
Roy Moore said, T-Bob, what's your go-to everyday mezcal?
I don't have an everyday mezcal.
He also said Art Car IPA Ghost in the Machine Juice for what's your everyday splurge and must drink when you see it? I don't have one on beer.
On beer, okay. If you could find Chimay Blue, I will almost always drink Chimay Blue.
I do love Chimay. Those Trappist beers.
Yeah, I love Belgian Trappist.
Those monks know what they're doing.
Belgians
you know what you need to do?
Beer,
like you need to go as Taylor. He's like a legit beer guy.
Well, like somewhere along the line, Chimay Blues just stopped showing up in stores. Like I don't know what happened.
Taylor's a legit First Love beer guy. He knows more about beer than anything. And he put me on a Trappist beer I'd never heard of before, and it was it blows Chimay out the water. For real.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I'm down for that. Bilbo T. Baggins asks, go-to IPA. Again, I'm not a very, one-note kind of guy. I will say that, I do fucking like a Ghost in the Machine. It's a fucking classic, but it's really good.
Okay, I'll give you one. I think Flying Tiger in Monroe.
Juicy? Are you talking about the Juicy?
I love Juicy.
Juicy's so fucking good,
I love Juicy.
dude.
Yeah.
Juicy is
but you
so
know what?
good.
They have one called Final Resting Place, which is better than Juicy, but I love the can on Juicy too, which looks like the icy.
It's the icy can. It's fucking
genius.
It's
like the cheerleader and all. It's awesome.
It's fucking genius, and it's really
Shout
good.
out to Rob Brewer. Awesome people.
Wait, so are they brewing in Baton Rouge now as well? Am I crazy?
Who?
Did I see that on the can? Flying Tiger? I know they're out of Monroe originally.
I don't. They're Monroe.
But are they? Oh, well, whatever.
Can I throw one more out, by the way?
Yeah.
So shout out to a good friend who's actually kind of related by marriage, Jeremy Waters, who's the brewer over at Tin Roof now. And he did one that's only available there at the brewery, which is called Heart Shaped Box.
Oh.
It's almost like and
I love Tin Roof.
It's like a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake flavored beer, which is insane. But anyway, dude, Jeremy, I remember, ordered a home brew kit and was brewing beer in the laundry room and shit. And now he's the brewer at Tin Roof.
Now
it's crazy.
They make juice for?
Huh?
They make juice for?
No, that's Gnarly Barley.
What is Tin Roof's IPA that I used to drink all the time? Voodoo. Voodoo's solid. Favorite Nick Cage movie? Face Off. Not even close. For me personally. I haven't seen The Rock, though.
No, the airplane movie. Come on, man. Con Air.
It's great. Con Air's great.
Con Air.
Very excited for the new Nick Cage movie, Massive Talent. Thoughts on Kershaw being pulled after 7 perfect innings and only throwing 80 pitches?
I don't understand Dave Roberts. I think he's stupid.
It's fucked.
That's not the first time he's done that. Like, he does that routinely.
I don't know that.
He did that to Rich Hill had a perfect game. He pulled Rich Hill in a perfect game.
Well, that's what this was, 7 perfect innings.
It's insane.
Kershaw, 80 pitches, 7 perfect innings.
I thought it was just a no-hitter, but anyway. But
I read earlier that it was perfect as well.
Okay, no, I believe you. I believe you.
Ask Matt, how would you feel about T-Bob adopting the moniker Moscona Jr.?
I'd gladly take you under my wing and help you be better at this profession.
Do you want to be T-Bob?
No,
it's like T-Bob means Petite Bobby. You could be Little Bobby?
No, you got it backwards.
You could be Petit Bobby.
You got it backwards. They're saying you're being little me.
Yeah, no, I know.
You'd be like T. Scone.
Well, no, that was the question. But, fuck that. No, it's horrible. I never, dude. Come on, what?
All I do is find ways to help you make money. It's incredible.
Gulf Sal says,
what the fuck do I know?
2 midweek losses to a top 15 team doesn't mean anything at the end of the season when you're possibly fighting for a national seed?
0. Literally 0. Like, literally 0. The only thing that will matter is your SEC record. And if LSU is at 16-14, you're not a national seed anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think LSU's really in the fight for a national seed this year.
They will have to go on an incredible run in the second. They'll have to win this series and go on an incredible run in the second half of conference play. You lost home series to Auburn and to A&M. That's crippling if you're trying to win it. If you're trying to earn a national seed, where the line of demarcation generally is 20-10. That's where you got to be. Think about the Herculean effort that you'll have losing home series.
No, bro, I'm just happy about getting the 2 road series because I had you at 14-16, 13-17. Now that's flipped into the above 500 zone.
I picked them 17-13 before the season started.
Okay, dude.
Yes, I picked him 17-13 before the season started.
What's the story on the 4-star safety we picked up today from Georgia? He's top 10 safety in the country. That's all I saw.
I don't know recruiting. I don't watch recruiting film. I don't scout high school. I just don't know. I can't watch a kid play.
No, I mean, I think the only thing that matters is he's a top 10 safety recruit. So, it's a good get. 4-star, right? Good get. T-Bob, have you been watching Moon Knight? I actually watched the first episode, thought it was fantastic. Second one I watched when I was tired. I fell asleep. I haven't gone back to it. I'm going to go back to Moon Knight eventually. Tonight's all about the Pelicans, though, so we're going to wait a couple nights to bring Moon Knight back into it. Who starts tomorrow night, Hilliard or Money? They already said they're sticking with Hilliard. Money on Saturday, and then the Dutton-Taylor connection on Sunday. We didn't mention Josh Pearson.
So, I mean, I have been talking about Josh Pearson and Stevenson all year. They're awesome.
I'm just saying, if you're talking about the weekend, we got to talk about Josh
Pearson. Pearson settles right field defensively, and he's a power bat. He never gets cheated. He swings out of his shoes, and he is a really mature hitter. In that, I'll even give you an example. In Game 2, when they made the switch to Hunt, the lefty, Pearson was the first batter up, and he had about a 7, 8, 9 pitch at bat where he was just fouling off pitches with 2 strikes. Your job in that situation is to make that dude throw a lot of pitches so everybody sees everything he's throwing.
Make him work.
And he did that. Game 1, I'm sorry, it was Game 2.
He only played 2 and 3, right?
But I think he had a pinch hit. He had a sack fly to left. I mean, your job in that situation is get the ball in the air to the outfield. He's a very team-oriented hitter, and I love that. If everyone had that mentality when they went at the plate, the contrast would be Braden Joubert, who hits into the shift consistently. Bro, I mean, I get it. You're trying to yank everything over the fence because that's what you do. But if you just drag one down the third base line, you're on base, and the next slugger behind you comes up with a dude on base, and now he's pitching out of the stretch. Anyway.
Yeah, no, you're saying that Joubert can handle the shift better than
Pearson's great. Pearson's great.
Ask Scone and T, did you get the short rib egg rolls yet? No,
Not yet.
But holy fuck, that sounds good.
You want to get them next?
Yeah, I think so, dude. That's next week's.
And Parish Brewing's here, so we got to get their special beer, whatever they have.
Jared Smith says they haven't called enough hit and runs. The execution be consistent. It's not really a question.
Sometimes you do that, and I can't understand what you're saying. You have to enunciate.
He said Jared Smith said they haven't called enough hit and runs for the execution to be consistent.
I see. Okay, I get that, but I don't actually agree. You're a college hitter. Your job is literally just put the bat out there and make contact. That's it. That's all you have to do is make contact.
I think it's it for questions, dude. I think we are good.
That is Scone and T from Oliver Twist. We'll be here next Wednesday as well. If you are listening or watching on demand, thank you. If you're watching live, much respect. Thank you all so much for being here. On the way out, YouTube, smash that like button. Facebook, like the page, share the post. We appreciate y'all greatly.
If you're listening on Thursday or Friday, fuck yeah, dude. Flock up. Let's go, boys.